So before we move into a more in-depth review of our concerns and some possible solutions, let's talk about some cold, hard truths. The blanket approach to language laws just doesn't work. Checks and balances, logic, these must be used in order to ensure that the rights are protected and promoted without discriminatory practices and without unreasonable cost, waste, duplication, and burden. With more than 42% of public sector employment designated bilingual, and with increasing pressure on the private sector to accommodate language of preference as well, we need to ask ourselves, is this reasonable in order to accommodate only 32% of our population? And is it even realistic? Can our current economy, services, and infrastructure meet the needs? New Brunswick is Canada's fastest shrinking province. Our population dropped by 941 during the first quarter of 2015. That is the strongest decline since 1980, 35 years. The Official Languages Act started in 1977, and our population started declining 3 years later. Is this a coincidence? I don't know. In the past 3 years, our population has decreased by 3,500, which is equivalent to the entire town of Dalhousie. It's more than double the decline of Canada's 2 other shrinking provinces, and it's the 17th straight quarter of population decline. In addition, New Brunswick's economy has produced no job growth in the past 6 years. The majority of decline is workers of childbearing years who leave in search of work and end up raising their families and paying their taxes somewhere else. Only 1,580 newborns were recorded in New Brunswick in the first quarter of 2015. That is the lowest number since records began in 1946. We have an aging population, with more than 20% of our population estimated to be age 65 or older by 2025, less than 10 years away. We have a strained healthcare system. We have an illiteracy rate of 66%. And in 2014, for the first time since records began, New Brunswick recorded more deaths than births. A couple of additional factors: some communities, a prime example is Campbellton, are so hard-pressed to fill bilingual mandated positions that workers from Quebec are crossing the border to work and earn an income in New Brunswick, which they then take home to boost their own provincial economy by paying taxes, mortgages, food, clothing, entertainment, etc. This does little to benefit New Brunswick. And P3s. P3s are public-private partnerships. These have been used with some success in some areas, so don't get me wrong, I'm not down on every one of them. However, there have also been multiple reports of massive failures resulting in 3 times the cost to the taxpayer and long-term unbreakable contracts. In addition to the obvious risks of bankruptcy with no recourse, cuts in service and quality, etc., in New Brunswick there's another concern. Minister Kathy Rogers has announced that the new P3 model proposed for the nursing home in Miramichi and planned for future ventures in New Brunswick will allow further governmental control over mandating language, as these privately owned businesses will in effect be in partnership with and offering services on behalf of the government and can be obligated to comply with the Official Languages Act. So now that we have reviewed these few initial slides, I'm going to move a little more in the next presentation into what our actual concerns may be.